Welcome to the webinar for Managed Personal Work Priorities and Professional Development. My name is Nikita, and I'm going to be taking you through assessments 1, 2, and 3 today, making up the entirety of this unit. Today's purpose is to break down each assessment and make sure that you understand what needs to be done with these first assessments and being able to answer each question to the best of your abilities. The session is going to run through this webinar. I'm going to take you through each assessment by sharing it on my screen with you so we can follow along with the questions and everything together. That way you'll be able to stop and start this video at whatever point you wish and just make sure that you've got your questions answered there. How can you get the most out of this webinar? I would definitely recommend either having your LMS open and being able to download the documents from there that you're needing. Otherwise, you can open up your student workbook that you would have received at the beginning of your course and follow on through that. Or if you're like me and you just want to scribble over everything, just print something out from the LMS, like your assessments or something as well, and just be able to take some notes on from there. What happens after the webinar? Well, you go and finish these assessments. If you do need any other questions answered or I haven't covered everything that you're wanting to have covered in this webinar, feel free to get in contact with either myself or your business mentor for any further questions that you may have. Basically, after this webinar, I want you to have the confidence and the knowledge to be able to go ahead and complete these assessments, upload them, get them marked, and have a big green tick next to them. So let's get started. So, with the unit or assessment overview, I will start off by saying that while it is quite a self-reflection kind of activity or unit really, where a lot of it is based on how you would react to a situation or how you would prioritize the tasks that are given, we do have a scenario that we're following for the purposes of assessment 1 and 2, which is in a travel agency. So we'll go through that in a second with assessment 1. So I'll just pop that up on the screen now. So assessment 1 starts off with a job description that you've been given. So you were successful as an applicant for the travel coordinator position with a international hotel chain. Basically what we're going to be going through here is just having a look at your actual job description, where it has given you, your title, the location of it, how many hours a week you're working, as well as some background information. What you're really needing to look for here is the key duties and responsibilities, the knowledge, skills, and experience, and your goals and objectives here. These are going to be used for your questions for assessment 1 and assessment 2. So for assessment 2 especially, you need to come back to this one and make sure that you've got these somewhere. So either have it open on your desktop, print it out, or use your student workbook to flip back and forth between them. But these are the key duties and responsibilities, knowledge, skills, and expertise, goals, and objectives. These are the key factors that we're going to be looking at here with this job description. So let's get started on assessment 1. So with question 1, we're just going to break everything down here. So you're going to review the position description that we've just discussed for the role of the travel coordinator and identify what the requisite skills are to perform the job functions. My little tip here is to have a look at the knowledge, skills, and experience section of the job description, which is back up here above. You don't have to take everything from there. You can just use some examples, but that would be where you would find the information of what you're needing to have to be able to complete your role correctly. For question B, what are the main goals of the travel coordinator position? Again, in the job description where I've just pointed out the goals, you can either copy and paste these directly into your assessment, or you can summarize them in your own words if you like, but we're just really discussing here what the goals are of the travel coordinator position and not of the actual organization as a whole. So just the job description. Question C is, how will you ensure that your work goals and your plans reflect the goals of the travel coordinator service? So by having a look in the job description under the goals and the objectives that the organization does have for this job role in particular, how are you going to tell what the organization is trying to achieve? How are you going to be able to say that this is how you're wanting to achieve that goal? What are you going to do to be able to hold yourself accountable for achieving those goals, or how are you going to make sure that your own personal goals reflect that of the organization? Everybody has goals that they want to achieve in their own personal careers or in their own workspace. So how are you going to make sure that that aligns with the organization's goals? This is very much, again, one of those self-reflectory questions. There's no right or wrong answer here. I just need you to be able to justify why it is that way. So what would that benefit what that strategy, how will that benefit you, how will it benefit the organization, and how do they align with each other. So if your goal is to be the best salesperson that there is, how does that align with the goals of the travel coordinator position and with the organization? For question D, how are you going to measure and maintain your performance in this role? This is more of a question about how you can actually see what you're doing and how it's affecting the business. So whether it's your sales targets that you might be able to look at, how will you be able to track your goal, and how will you make sure that it is working? How do you make sure that you're being successful in this? So you can have a look at things like your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Feedback is also a really great option here as well to be able to track how you're going. Feedback from a supervisor could happen, feedback from customers, just to make sure that those goals that you've spoken about previously and those objectives, that they're aligning with your everyday work. The first assessment here is only 4 questions, so you don't need to go into very much detail here. About 100 words per question will be fine, as a maximum, I would say. But yeah, you're definitely wanting to have a look at those key duties and everything for assessment 1, where we're going to be looking there. So that's the recap of here. Is you're going to read through the background information and all of your key responsibilities and duties and everything for the job description of the travel coordinator. Read through that, answer the 4 questions, especially in questions 3 and 4, where it is quite personal of how you would align your goals with the travel coordinator service position and the organization. So it's all very personal from here on out, basically. Let's get started on assessment 2. So for assessment 2, you're still following on from the same scenario of the travel coordinator job role and everything. So you'll definitely want to go back and forth between the job description information that's been given to you and these questions, especially for the first one, where we'll be needing 3 of the requisite skills. So you have now been asked by your supervisor to identify 3 requirements of the role and to explain how those align with the organization's plans for the travel coordinator division. So again, have a look in the job description under the key duties and responsibilities, as well as the knowledge, skills, and expertise sections. Choose 3 that appeal to you, and then outline to me on your assessment how they align with the actual objectives of the organization. So I'll just quickly scroll up again so we can have a look at the objectives. So here we've got 4 objectives that they would like you to reach as a travel coordinator in your job description. How are these aligned with either any of these knowledge, skills, or experience things, or the key duties and responsibilities? So out of these, you want to choose 3, or you can choose 4 if you like, and align them to those objectives. Just scroll back down to the assessment. Perfect. So it's approximately 200 words for that assessment, and having chosen 3 of the actual, key skills or whatever it is that you choose, having chosen 3 of them and just needing to justify them against why you've chosen them against the objective. So how do they align? What's the relationship between them? So 200 words, it's not too much, but yeah, definitely wanting to put in quite a bit of detail on how they align and why they're important there. For question 2, you're going to be using a couple of templates that will be on this document I'm about to show you as well. What you're needing to do here is completely up to you with how you're going to prioritize these tasks. So I've given you some tasks. If you're on the LMS, these will be a downloadable document that you can find underneath assessment 2. It's just a Word document that you'll need to download, and it's just a bunch of dot points with tasks next to them. What you're needing to do here is just take those tasks and pop them into where you think that they belong. So our first template is a quadrant where we're discussing whether things are urgent or important. So urgent tasks are time-sensitive tasks that need your immediate attention. So it's something that needs to be done today or in the next 2 hours, or you get what I mean there. The important tasks are tasks that are going to impact your results if they don't get completed. So if something is urgent and important, it's time sensitive and it's going to affect your results if it doesn't happen. So you'll need to choose the task that suits that need and pop that into that box. Again, it's up to you how you want to prioritize this. If you feel that preparing invoices for clients using the accounting system is urgent and important, you'll pop that in there. If you feel that it's not that time sensitive, so not that urgent, but it is still important because it affects your results, you'll pop that into the not urgent, important box. Not every box has to have something in it. As long as it's up to, you can discuss why why you've just discussed to put them into those quadrants. But it's very much a personal decision there on how you prioritize. Our second template is almost kind of like a calendar for the week. You're going to be using the same tasks as you did for your previous quadrant, and you're just going to pop them into here. So you want to make sure that your week is completely set up how you want it to be set up as the most efficient week for you to be able to complete those tasks. Some tasks will be done every single day, so it could be done every single morning at exactly the same time, Monday through to Friday. It might be done twice a week, it might be done once a week, up to you. But every single task will need to be placed somewhere in this weekly schedule, and you should be able to, if called upon to, you should be able to discuss why it is in that schedule as it is. With this as well, you want to put in your start times and your finish times. So so start time can be anything. So if you want to do a 9 to 5 job or 8:30 to 5:30, again, up to you, but just make sure that you've got that start time and your finish time in there, as well as you haven't put anything in that lunch break, just to basically assume that we are running, proper lunch breaks and everything and organizing your time as effectively as possible. And that is it for those two templates. You'll find these in the LMS. They're both separate Word documents that you can download underneath the task list. So it's in the same section. So 3 separate documents for this. You can copy and paste them into your actual assessment if you're wanting to have it all in the one document, which is totally fine, or you can set them through separately, totally fine how you want to format it. For your workbooks, these should always be like following on from each other as well. So everything should be in there for you, ready to go. The next part of assessment 2, we've got question 2. We've got another scenario on and background information. This whole section is going to be more about how you would personally do all of this. So this question itself is very much a self-reflection activity. So again, there's no right or wrong answers. You just need to be able to really discuss why you are prioritizing something this way or how it works for you best. So for our scenario here, we're 3 months into the role as the travel coordinator. I'm going to assume that we're really loving it, but we are finding ourselves faced with conflicting daily work priorities. On several occasions, you've stayed back to complete tasks, including arranging bookings using the customized in-house reservation software. Your work demands often make it difficult to complete this task on time, and you're also experiencing some difficulties in using the software and are yet to master the applications of the program. You've received some feedback from your supervisor, and she's raised several issues, including your turnaround time, dealing with your guest reservations, and some administrative procedures such as delaying in processing reservation advice to the accounts division. So from that feedback, we're going to answer the following questions, or following dot points, I should say, as part of this question. You need to identify 3 overall strategies that you can use to manage your time and develop the necessary expertise to utilize the computer reservation system. So basically, this is asking for 3 strategies of how you can manage your time better and make sure that you have time enough to be able to use to learn how to use that computer reservation system. As part of the process, you need to address a range of questions, including the following. For this, you can set it out as having your 3 main strategies at the top, I guess, as a paragraph of these are my strategies, and then you can answer these dot points individually if you like. Otherwise, you can write through in a paragraph if you want to condense it all, and then just put in your strategies throughout it as well and how these relate to it. So the first dot point is, what do you currently do to prioritize your competing demands? These might relate to your personal or your work life. This question is asking you, how do you manage your time? How do you prioritize what needs to happen first and what can be pushed back a day or 2? Again, completely up to you. If you don't know what your prioritization method is, you can just write what you think it should be or what you're aiming for it to be. What business software could you use to schedule work? For example, a scheduling or calendar software. For myself, my Google Calendar is everything to me. You guys would know, like when you try and book a meeting with me, I've already got appointments that are set in there so that you guys can see what times are available. For me, that's the most useful thing that I have as a software program or as a business software program, because it's easily manageable. It's very colorful for me, so I can see everything there. But my way may not necessarily be the correct way for you. So again, just if you have your own scheduling software that you use, if you have your own way of scheduling everything, this is where you would discuss that. Whether it's writing everything in a massive ledger and putting like sticky notes everywhere, whatever works for you is what you want to discuss here. What learning pathways could you take to improve your skills and bring you closer to your career goals? So thinking of the position as a travel coordinator, what kind of learning pathways do you think you could take to ensure that you're learning how to use that computer software? It could be anything from buddying up with someone, staying back, maybe not taking every lunch hour every week, anything that you think would be able to give you some time to learn more about the computerized reservation service. It could also be something like a short course. It might be for a day or something, or you could look into just doing some online training, or even asking the software company for any kind of program help or anything at all. So whatever you think could be a learning pathway for you to be able to bring your skills up to speed. How will your learning be measured? For example, a formal qualification workplace competency assessment. So basically we want to know, how do you know that you've been really great at this? How do we know that you've done a really awesome job at learning how to use that computerized reservation service? And more importantly, how do you know that you've gotten something out of this learning? When do you know that you're competent? So the examples are really great as a formal qualification. So if you are doing a short course in the computerized reservation service, then that would be great. Otherwise, a workplace competency assessment, anything like that. It could even be something as small as feedback from your supervisor, just marking you off on a performance plan or something. So whatever you think will be great for you to learn, well, for you to see that your learning has been measured and that you've actually accomplished something. The last one is to ask yourself, can you adjust to alternative learning methods, and what is the time frame that you need to achieve for your learning goals? So this is just really asking you, if the above don't work, what else could you do? And would that be an option for you? Would you be prepared to change to an alternative learning method here? What's the time frame that you want to be able to complete this goal? We've been there for 3 months in the position now. So what do you think would be a realistic time frame for you to be able to complete this short course or the training, to be able to make sure that you're competent in that computerized reservation system? Say that 5 times fast. So once you've answered all of those dot points, you can collate it into a paragraph, like I said earlier, or you can answer them all individually. But I just want you to have a really good think about everything here, especially with how you prioritize everything, because I find it really useful to kind of go back into this as well and just see where you thought you were at and where you could be at, or where you learn to be with prioritizing. Time management is one of the most common issues that we find students facing when it comes to balancing study, work, and life. So what could you do to be able to be more aware of it, or to be able to change that? Our very last question here is based on the scenario that states that you are not quite meeting the minimum standards of your role. Have a think about 3 things that you could do to either manage your time a little better or get the experience that you need to use the computer reservation system more efficiently. So based on the feedback and based on the dot points and everything that you're going through here, you're just going to put all of your, I've just made some space here, but this is where you're just wrapping everything up here and just using your feedback and the minimum standards of your role. So you can find these again in the job description in assessment 1, and summarizing all of that into the 3 things that you could do to manage your time better. Part B of this is to identify and explain your preferred learning style. So this is something completely up to you personally, and explain how that will help you develop competence in using the organization's reservation and account system. So we do have quite a little quiz and everything in the student workbook that you can complete now, just to see if you are aware of what kind of learner that you are. If you already know, that's great. So we've got learners, so it's a VAC that we call it. So it's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So if you're a visual learner, you like to see things like actual visual pictures if they help you, like to read as well, and just be able to see things better. Auditory can be listening to somebody speak to you. So webinars are a version of that, as well as visual with the PowerPoints and everything else as well. And auditory can also be as part of your reading as well. Kinesthetic is very much a hands-on learning approach. You like to get in there and just do it. So if somebody shows you something, you're like, yep, cool, that's the visual point, and then you just want to go in there and just try it yourself. That's very much a kinesthetic hands-on learner. You can be a mixture of everything, really. So I'm very much a kinesthetic and a visual. I like to see things first, and then I want to just try it myself. So you might be similar to me. You might just want to listen to somebody, and then you retain information that way, and that's the best way of learning, but completely up to you. So you want to identify what your preferred learning style is here, and just explain how that's going to help you develop that competence in that computer system. So what kind of learning could you take on to be able to learn how to use that system as well. So we'll just get past this. Not everybody will have that. Beautiful. Alrighty, so we're recapping assessment 2. So you've been in the position for a little while now. You've been asked to get the three key requirements that you're going to be using, and just discuss how they align with the goals of the actual organization. You can find them in the job description in assessment 1 as part of the key requisite skills and your knowledge, skills, and expertise sections. Pick 3 and just discuss how they align with the objectives of the business. You've got your 2 templates that you're using. So that's the quadrant with the urgent and important, or not urgent but important, and the task list that you're going to be copy and pasting those little tasks into. Again, completely up to you how you want to do it. It's just up to you how to prioritize those tasks. You're also going to be using the same task to create the weekly schedule, which is kind of like a calendar, and set up your week in the most productive and efficient way possible for yourself. Again, those 2 templates are incredibly personal and how you want to do it. So just make sure that it's the most efficient way of how you think it will be done. Then you've got your question on how you're going to manage your time better. So you've got your 3 strategies that you want to implement there. Answer those dot points honestly, and just on your own terms of how you would feel about prioritizing it and how you would learn how to use the reservation system. And then you've also got your identifying what your learning style is and how that's going to help you, or how you could implement that into your learning style for the computer reservation system as well. Assessment 3 is the very last one, and it's one of my favorites purely because it is so very much all about you and your goals. That you don't have to talk about the travel coordinator position anymore. This whole assessment can be just about you, about what your career goals are, what your personal goals are, whatever you feel comfortable putting into an assessment, because somebody will be reading it. So this is also something you can print off and just use in your everyday life if you want to. It doesn't have to just be an assessment later on. It can be a tool that you use later on just to see what your goals are, whether it's in a new job that you've started, whether you're building your own business and you want to have goals in there for it, or whether it's something like going on a holiday to Hawaii in 6 months' time. Whatever your goal is, this is a wonderful tool to be able to look at what your strengths are, what you could be working on, and how you can reach those goals. So with this one, you've got another question here, which is just identifying your current strengths and your weaknesses, or areas of opportunity as I prefer to call them, including what your skills and attributes are and how they would relate to your current career or your future desired employment role, and how that would fulfill that. So if you want to, you can still talk about the travel coordinator role that we've been discussing in assessment 1 and 2, or again, just make this all about you, which is a wonderful opportunity just to talk about you. So you just want to list your strengths in the strengths box here. And it can be anything. It can be anything that you find that your strengths are within the business or just in general. So if you think that you're a really great people person, that's a strength. A people person is a wonderful thing. You'll be able to, relate that back to excellent customer service skills and developing personal relationships or business relationships and being able to network effectively. So any strengths that you think, yep, I'm really great at this, no matter what it is, can be in this box. And then what are your areas for opportunity? If you've got something that you're like, you know what, I'm not that great at it, but I'd really love to be, that's an area of opportunity. A weakness is not something that can never change. It's not something that can hold you back, but an area for opportunity is absolutely that. You can just go straight ahead, be like, you know what, this is something I want to get better at, and then be better at it, get better at it. Find out how you can, make your skills up to snuff, or you can go and gain more knowledge on something, whatever it is that you feel. But please don't say just, oh, I have a weakness, and then use that as I can't, it will hold me back. It won't. Nothing can hold you back. That's why it's called an area of opportunity. Once you're done with those, you're going to talk about how those strengths and those areas of opportunity relate to your current role or your future career path. So if your strengths lie very much in time organization and being a people person and wanting to develop better skills in party planning or something, how would that, if you wanted to be like a wedding planner or something, how would those skills or your strengths and your areas of opportunity, how would they relate to that career? And for the part B here, you've got your Appendix C, which you can download in your LMS as well. It's just listing and discussing your future goals, your actions, and your time frame. So in setting goals, it's really important to have a specific goal. It's important to have a specific action of how you can achieve that goal. And the most important thing is to have a time frame on it. If you just say, oh, I want to go to America at some point and go to Disneyland. Yeah, that's cool. But when are you going to go? How are you going to get there? What are you going to do? So if you then make your goal something more achievable, you want to use the SMART strategy below. So I'll just put this up here. If you have a SMART goal, you've got that much more of a chance of actually fulfilling it and sticking to it. Too many people make goals, and it's like the New Year's resolution deal. You make a New Year's resolution because it's New Year's and nothing ever happens. Sometimes I find myself, I've written down goals from 2013 and I found it, this year or something, and it's just like, oh, I've done none of that. So this is why I'm very much an advocate for these SMART goals. So SMART goal, your goal is going to be specific, which is the S. So you're going to include dates, resources, and for anything else you need to accomplish that goal. So that's your S, specific. M is for measurable. Your goal should be measurable. You need the date or any other appropriate measures of how you can know that that goal is happening. So you need to have a measure on it. A is for achievable or attainable, and your goal needs to be able to be achievable. So if you wanted to go to Disneyland tomorrow, is that achievable? Do you have the means to be able to do that? I don't. So it's not an achievable goal for me to say that, yeah, I want to do it tomorrow. If you then make it attainable in a way of, oh, you have a date and a specific time frame for it, maybe in 6 months, yeah, you could. It is an attainable goal. For R, you need it to be realistic and relevant to your life. If it's realistic and relevant, it's going to be easy to achieve. So you want to make a realistic goal, because if you're going to set goals for short term, medium term, and long term that are so out of league, it's just going to be something that you're not going to be able to achieve at that point, and then probably leave you disappointed because it hasn't happened. Like, I could marry Tom Hiddleston. That's not a realistic goal. For T, you need a specific timeline to achieve that goal. So you want to be able to achieve that goal within 12 months by whatever date. So by using the SMART goal system, making sure that they're written in a smart way, you'll be able to make sure that you're measuring your goal properly, it's realistic to your life, and you'll be able to see that you're actually achieving it. So through using that system as well, you're going to go through your short-term, medium-term, and your long-term goals. Your short-term goal is something that's up to a year, so from now until 12 months' time. A medium-term goal is 1 to 3 years, so what you want to achieve in the next 1 to 3 years. And your long-term goal is your next 3 to 5 years. So what you're wanting to do really here is just go and put through your goals. You don't have to have something really like a lot of things in every box if you don't want to. Again, it's completely up to you how this looks, but you do want to have a few things that you want to get excited about. So whether in the next 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, you want to achieve the goal of completing your diploma. Just a hint. What is that going to be? What is that going to look like? What's your goal going to be? Is it going to be a SMART goal? And how are you writing that down? Medium-term goals, in 1 to 3 years, it could be to get your real estate license and work in a real estate agency, or you can start looking at owning your own real estate agency. It can be, 1 to 3 years, you could be working for a events company and being able to gain those skills and that knowledge before your long-term goal of owning your own in the next 3 to 5 years might happen. Whatever the goal is, again, it can be career-based, it can be personal, it can be both, as long as it's a SMART goal. The last box here is what do you need to do to achieve these goals? So what actions do you need to take? If you want to learn how to speak Chinese in the next 5 years, or Mandarin, sorry, what do you need to do to achieve that goal? Is that going to be enrolling into a course during night times because you work full time? Is it going to be during an online course, or is it going to be traveling to China and staying there in Beijing for 3 years? What's your goal going to be, and how are you going to learn how to speak the language that you've chosen? How are you going to achieve that goal? There are many things that you can do. It can even be small steps to take to be able to achieve something. So make sure that you're thinking about everything and think a little bit outside of the box as well here. We've got some tips as well for your goals here. So you're going to take finances into account. What income will you need, and how will you balance work, life, kids, or other commitments for that goal? Ask yourself, what skills do I currently possess to achieve these goals? Maybe it's an area of opportunity, so what do you need to achieve? What learning pathways may be necessary to achieve these goals? Is it just this course? Are there other courses out there? Other qualifications that you want to have? Maybe it's other experiences. Experiences can be learning pathways as well, whether it is traveling or living in a new place, meeting new people. This is where you're going to be looking into networking. So you can list some networking opportunities that could help you reach your goals. But more importantly, I want you to research, identify, and detail a networking activity that you can participate in that aligns with your personal development plan and how it would be beneficial to your personal development. A really great example of a networking activity could be conferences or seminars even. It's like-minded people in the same type of industry getting together and sharing knowledge and experience and being able to go through and discuss and share ideas as well. So that's a really great example of the networking activity. It can totally depend on what you're wanting to do as well, what industry you're wanting to go into. So definitely start looking into those opportunities and what research is out there for you. Facebook is also a really great social media site where you'll be able to look onto pages and as well as groups. There might be pages over there where they're talking about certain industries or certain job roles and maybe sharing that kind of information. LinkedIn is also another really great one where it's basically a website just based for networking as well and having those connections. So definitely have a look into those as well, just to see if there's anything out there where it'll be easy enough to be able to talk to other people who are very much like-minded and have the same experiences or similar and wanting to go in similar directions. Question D is to outline and discuss 3 strategies that you can engage to help maintain an appropriate work-life balance. Ensuring stress is effectively managed and good mental and physical health is made a priority. Again, this is completely up to you. If your strategy to maintain your work-life balance is to work, come home, have dinner, and then meditate for an hour or whatever it is that you want to do, that's your own personal strategy. So here, again, very personal. What is your strategy for maintaining that work-life balance? How can you do it? Question 2 is that you're required to prepare a personal development plan outlining your career objectives and actions for your current role. If you're not employed at present, you can develop your personal development plan using your employment goals. This is basically taking what we've just been discussing for the rest of the majority of assessment 3 is just your own goals and how you're going to get there. So you've got your short-term objectives and your goals with your required actions and skills. So you've got a goal and then how you're going to get there. These 2 need to meet together to be able to achieve that goal. You want to make sure, again, that your goal is a SMART goal. So you can expand on the goals that you've listed previously. You can pop them into here as well and just put in a little bit more detail. You want to be very specific in your required actions. We want dates and we want timeframes. You really want to consider how you're going to achieve those goals. So again, if your goal short-term is to complete your diploma, how are you going to do that? Is it weekly coaching calls? Is it coming along to every study session every Thursday or Friday? Is it talking to a mentor on a weekly basis? Are you putting away 5 hours a week for the study? What is it? And then when, of course, do you want to complete this by? Do you want to complete it earlier than your completion date? Do you want to complete it on your completion date? And how is that going to look? You just want to go through and you want to put in your short-term, medium-term, and long-term career goals in here as well. If you don't have that many career goals or you're not really sure what you want to do, you can also just put in your personal development goals as well. So if it is learning how to speak another language, if it is learning how to use a different software system, you can pop that into your goal as well and just discuss how that's going to happen. But that is the end of the assessments. So nice little recap here for assessment 3. It's all about you. It's all about how you're going to get your goals happening, how they're going to be SMART goals, how it's going to be actioned. So how do you know it's happening? How are you going to measure it? It's all about you. This whole assessment is about you. It can be based on your career goals or your personal goals as well, or a mixture of both, whatever you're comfortable in submitting into an assessment. And it's also a really useful tool to print off later on and use for your own goal making and everything as well. So where to from here? So you're going to go away from this webinar, hopefully with a little bit more of an understanding of this unit, and really being able to just tackle this one and just smash it out, and being able to submit that one and get that really big green tick that we're all after. If you have any questions or concerns, you can get in touch with me with the details that are on the screen at the moment. You can call me on my mobile or text me whenever you want. I'll be able to get back in touch with you or have a coaching call, organize something. You can call the team on the landline number as well, and somebody will be able to help you. Alternatively, you can email me at my email address, or you can just email the team, and one of our amazing mentors will get back to you with their knowledge and expertise and their awesome wisdom. So there is support available to you. There is also a messaging system on the LMS that if you message the mentor in question, they'll be able to get like a little instant messaging happening as well. Skype is available if you're a rural student or you really can't get into a campus and you want to have a face-to-face kind of experience. You're more than welcome to email us about Skype, and that's something that we can set up as well as coaching calls, texting, emailing, smoke signals, whatever works for you. So what's next? That's it. You complete your assessments, they get marked off, you move on to your next unit, and we get that awesome progress happening. So we're all really excited here to see you guys go through and everything, especially with this assessment, all about your goals. It's definitely something that as a mentor, we love to read to see what you guys are really wanting to achieve here. So it's exciting for us to see where you want to go, and what you're really hoping to get out of the course and out of your careers. So it's definitely a useful tool for both parties here. I just want to say thank you very much for watching this webinar, and keep an eye out for the rest that are coming up. We're really excited to help you through these courses, and we're hoping that this is a wonderful resource for you. So thanks very much, guys, and enjoy the assessments.